Welcome to the Peachtree Podcast. Peachtree Learning Center is a nonprofit in Middle Tennessee dedicated to training and discipling students in all the fine arts to become excellent and skilled in order to spread the kingdom of God into the world of the arts. On this podcast, we will discuss topics designed to encourage, uplift, educate, and equip people to proclaim the kingdom more deeply in their own families and communities.
So welcome to our podcast today. We are in our Sparta building and have lots of joyful noise behind us. So we're excited to get to come to you from this space and know that life and creativity are happening all around us, and also enjoying our beautiful windows on a glorious spring day. And I have a sweet friend here with me named Elileen. Welcome, Elileen, to the podcast. She and her husband have moved here from California a few years ago, and she's now the owner of Walls of Books in Cookeville, which is a great used book resource. She's added a lot of homeschool resources there and lots of games and puzzles and really creative things there. And I wanted to talk to Elileen because she and her family have a really interesting story of homeschool journey, how they got to that place, and then what brought them from California from a pretty interesting job out there, what brought them to Tennessee and how they found Cookeville, and wanted to hear a little more about their family story and get it on our podcast for encouragement. So welcome, Elileen. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I want you to go back to California. You had several children and you were living in what part of California?
We were in actually the outer parts of Los Angeles, actually right by the beach. We were in a city called Rancho Palos Verdes. I worked as a nurse. My husband, Scott, was kind of in the movie industry. He had worked on a lot of movies, kind of veered away from that and was doing his own documentaries. But COVID kind of slowed things down tremendously for him. Actually, everybody in the movie industry.
And your children were in school.
Correct. We were in the public school there. It was actually a really wonderful community where a lot of the moms I was good friends with. And then 2020 happened and our kids had to be pulled out. And we Zoomed for the 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it was till the end of the year. My heart and gut knew the school district wasn't going to go back in the fall, and they were going to continue doing it from home. I mean, they were following the Los Angeles Unified School District and their plan, and my gut knew that they weren't going to be going back.
So you felt like there needed to be another option.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't want them to get behind.
Right.
I was already feeling that God was giving me a tug on our heart just of putting homeschooling back into our lives or starting that journey. I had an incoming 8th grader, 6th grader, 4th grader, and a kindergartner.
Wow.
So it was, and all girls. So, it was a very, very scary thing.
Big change.
Yeah. So as a mom of brand new homeschooling, brand new to homeschooling. I didn't know what I wanted to do with curriculum. There wasn't a homeschool community, but maybe like one co-op in our area.
Wow. Yeah.
So there wasn't a very much of a support system. I didn't know what to do with curriculum. I picked something that kind of mimicked the school district with like workbook status. So I used a Becca. Of course, everybody knows. Buy the curriculum, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're talking
all comes in a box.
It all comes in a box and is very expensive.
And it's expensive, right.
So we did that.
But that's a great place to start. If you don't know where to start, there's a couple options out there where it all comes in a box to your door. You check off the little marks. You think you've got it all covered. It's a good option.
Yeah.
A great place to start, especially with that spread of ages.
So we started that, and it was great. I mean, we enjoyed the flexibility of going to the beach daily. We couldn't do anything else. Everything else was closed, you know. So we went to the beach. We homeschooled. But then God put on our hearts where we had already thought about moving. We had put in our heads, maybe Texas, maybe Oklahoma. No, I think Tennessee. I have family in Tennessee, but more south of Nashville. So it'd be nice to be somewhat close to family. To be honest, I would have never have known Cookeville existed if it wasn't actually for the CrossFit community. Because of that, we actually knew of Cookeville. And then I just did my research. Is there a hospital for me to work as a nurse?
Right.
Is there
anybody else who homeschools?
Yeah.
And the answer was yes.
Well, yeah, actually.
There's kind of a flourishing community.
I saw Peachtree Learning Center on when I'm Googling different homeschool opportunities, and I'm looking at their classes, and I'm going, that seems like very much a possibility.
Yeah.
I looked at even, like I learned that you had to be kind of under an umbrella school.
Right.
And that at time it was, pretty much Daniel 1 or home life at that time. So I'm like, okay, well, this is great. Now churches, so that was
great
like
churches.
Plenty of options. There's one on almost every corner. So what we did in 2020, it was in October, we visited. We spent a few days in Nashville to go see the sites. We came and spent one night in Cookeville, and just coming into the city and going to a park there, Cookeville felt like home. And I'm only visiting. It felt like home.
How sweet.
We knew that trip.
That's how he drew us here. We got here out of the blue and knew nobody. And it was the same way. We're in Sparta, which is close to Cookeville, but same thing. Like we felt like home. We were at home.
Yeah. It was
Very
like a
sweet.
confirmation. Like
Yes.
I didn't even have to go home and pray about it. It's like, this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that was October. February, we were in escrow for a house, and I had a job. And
That's amazing.
I moved 2 weeks before the husband did, and the children. So we made it our home. And that's when I actually came to Peachtree and to check it out. And they were like, come to our spring show. And I checked, we all went, and we were like, wow, this is wonderful.
Some fun stuff. Yeah. Your girls are really plugged in so sweetly, and we've loved having them in classes. And you've got a daughter in drama, and drama's kind of exploded at Peachtree as she's come aboard. So before 2020, we had a drama class, which was kind of an all-encompassing age-wise. It was kind of like fourth grade and up, basically like 9 to up, just trying to have a class and do some neat things. But Miss Lori started the drama program. She came about the same time frame. She started in 21 or 2020, fall of 2020.
Like a year before we came, I think.
And so drama has gone from one class of 12 or so kids to 3 classes with about 60 total, and still going up. But your daughter came along about the time that was all getting legs under it, I guess. And that summer camp that she came to was really a fun year to get going. And she seems like she just jumped in like a duck to water and has flourished in that. She's had such a good run of roles and different parts, and she's done so well.
The drama team has been like family to her, and it really flourished this year, I'd say.
Yes.
As in, we were just saying, talking with her the other day, I'm like, how do you feel that, the drama's done for this year? She's actually, I'm kind of sad because the cast will be different next year.
Yes, it will be. Yeah, this cast really solidified as a group and just worked as a team so well. Lori's great about bringing in teamwork and making them feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, which is honestly across the world of creative arts needs to be something that we're focusing in on, is being generous to each other and supporting each other. And they've done a powerful job of that in drama, and musical theater has been really good about that too. They're just those group classes, those ensembles have done a really good job of that.
Well, that's one thing, drama feeling like family. That's kind of how I feel about Peachtree for me, is that moving to Cookeville, not knowing a person, having to put trust in somebody that I don't know, but becomes wonderful friends and just people that I just adore. I look forward to coming there and having long conversations with you all in the office, because you guys are family to us, but not to mention you love on my children.
We do love your children.
And make sure that they're safe, which I love that.
Yeah. I'm very glad to hear that. It always makes us feel good to know that that's the way it's being received, because that's the way it's intended. And we've loved them. And so switch gears and tell us a little bit about the business that you've bought. So there's a great bookstore, Walls of Books, that's been in Cookeville for several years. We actually have used them and partnered with them on other book events for a while, but that switched hands this year. And so you and your husband bought it.
So the funny story is, last February, March, right around there, I followed them on Facebook and I saw, hey, we're selling. If you're interested, serious inquiries only. And I thought to myself, I can't tell my husband this. He's going to want to buy it. I don't know if I just know him. Well, something told me about a week or two later, I need to tell him. He's like, well, I'm going to email him. I'm interested. That's exactly what I was thinking. So we did, we met with him. I think at that moment, it wasn't the right timing for him or for us. Scott and I let it go. And then all of a sudden in July, he approached us again and says, are you still, as interested as you were before? And we were like, yeah. And everything aligned up.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, I owned a bookstore. The main thing is that my reason for wanting it is that our community needs a used bookstore. We need affordable books. Our kids need to be promoting literacy is important to me, and it's important to a lot of parents.
Sure.
And new books are expensive, so to be able to have a wide variety of books at a decent cost, and then when people use store credit, they even get it for a better deal.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
And in California, we would go to the used bookstore. Hey, a family of 6, you need to.
Well, and you're looking for a certain kind of book too. If you're a mindful and aware kind of parent, you want certain kinds of books. And I always love coming in. The whole time the store's been there, I go straight to the classics section and look and see what people have turned in that qualifies as classics, and I can go find stuff. I found really great books to add to my own library there,
And that is
for
an
a
era.
lot less than I would buy new. But it's just great to go to that. Or I've also used that to populate the Peachtree Lobby Library, which has also kind of exploded. We started with like 30 books, and people have donated, and we've come to Walls of Books, and we've gone to a couple of the used bookstores and populated that space. And it's great to find good books there and stuff that I want people to read. Books that are a little bit hard to find at the library, and even harder to find new in stores because they don't carry all the old classics necessarily.
Yeah.
And books that I think are classic but really never got that label, but are super useful. I found a lot of them at Walls of Books. People turn them in.
And that's actually the section that I feel like people turn in the least. Classics. I have had to go to my franchise because we are actually part of a franchise that I had taken over from the previous owner.
Right.
And I go to them and say, can you help me restock it? Because I am getting bare and people don't bring them in, which I don't blame them.
Well, I don't turn mine in.
Classics
I want
or
to
something.
collect them. I'm never turning them back in.
That's right.
So,
but with that, kind of seeing what people are wanting, because, I've only owned the store since September, trying to see what my clientele loves. And I have actually tried to add in some beautiful Wordsworth classics
beautiful
and
stuff.
different things, even
New
from
editions
Penguin.
of books in public domain that people are pulling out and doing new editions of. You've got a lot of those too.
I try to keep a good array of different ones, and they're just, to me, it's just fun. It's fun to find fun, cute, bookish items and just things that, and seeing what all these younger kids, because I'm definitely seeing a resurgence of reading amongst younger people. I'd say especially those early 20s. They're really, they're eating up books. They come in and buy new books a lot.
Oh, that's great.
And that's something that we always try to also be competitive with those big corporate chains with, giving that 20% off new books because, like I said, books are expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Cookville's kind of cycled through when we moved here. When my girls were little, we lived in Sparta, but we would drive to Cookville. There was a bookstore there on the square. It was the cutest little shop. The lady that owned it was just really dear, and but it closed the week that the box store opened. She just felt like she could not compete, and so our one box store for books in Cookville is still there, but I do not frequent it. I would drive to Nashville and Knoxville to look for books instead of going there. We also in Sparta at the time had a little bookstore, and it's gone too, but I've loved seeing you, and there's another new bookstore, Plenty, that's like a really creative space for books and bookish items there too. And I love having both of those local and not ever having to go to the big box store.
Even just going, I went and introduced myself to them. They know me. I know them.
Oh, yeah.
We did our event with you.
Right. You were both at our event.
I've referred people to them. They've referred people to me. And it's a nice
the focus
community.
It's very sweet community. Yes. And being able to coexist and do that in a really sweet, encouraging way together. And they offer things that you don't have and vice versa. And y'all have been able to partner on things, but having the same goal for, lots of good quality books out there in our community is a really great thing to have. And the community is doing a good job of keeping them both. I think it's great to have both. So I've loved watching y'all take that on. It's been nice to know. And you've got a whole big shelf of homeschool stuff in there now. And
it's
there was
growing.
a little bit before, but it's really gotten big. So
I just had a huge donation the other day, to be honest, of homeschool curriculum. I am overflowing.
That's great. Well, it's a good time of year because a lot of people are looking for curriculum for fall. And
they are.
I know there's a curriculum sale coming up at Peachtree on June 1st. And that's always a time when people donate and then turn around and come in and buy. And There'll be a lot of swapping going on, and that's always exciting to me to see people planning for the new year and getting good stuff.
This is the time to
this is
plan.
The time to have it.
I
yes.
mean, I have been planning out my kids' fall of what are we going to do? What classes are we going to take? What classes are we going to take at home?
Yeah.
It's a lot, and it is a lot, but it is, like I said, our homeschool curriculum, you can't beat that price.
Right.
You can't even get it that cheap online.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So much fun to see that. It's exciting. Well, thank you, Elileen, for coming to talk to us today.
Absolutely.
It's been great to chat. Thanks for driving down and seeing our new space. Good luck with your own planning for your next year with your own children. We'll look forward to hearing from you next week.
Thank you so much for joining us today. To support this podcast, please go follow us on your podcast platform of choice. And if you're interested in knowing more about the work of Peachtree, please go visit our website at peachtreelearningcenter.com for more information.